from the Heart.
Hello and welcome back to Horror from the Heart, episode 31. My name is Josh, as always, and today I wanted to sit back and kind of talk about movie sequels, because I just got done watching the new trailer for Scream. I mean, and it kind of gets me because it's called Scream. It's not like Scream 5 or anything like that. It's just Scream. Now, granted, I will sit back and say, watching the trailer and everything like that, it seems pretty interesting. Doesn't come out till like January. I mean, we're sitting here in October, spooky season and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting that it's coming out in January. I figured they might want to actually put a different kind of release date for that. But, you know, hey, I'm not a movie producer. I'm not the guy who does, release dates and all that kind of stuff, but to each his own. But it kind of really made me think about the whole idea of movie sequels, because of course I'm sitting here, I'm watching this trailer on YouTube, and what's the first thing that pops up is a trailer for Halloween Kills. So it goes from Halloween Kills into a trailer for that into a trailer for Scream. I had to watch a trailer before I watched a trailer, basically. But it really kind of got me thinking about the whole idea of movie sequels when it comes down to it. Because we have tons of horror stuff that's out there, and I know that we've talked about remakes a little bit, we've talked about reboots a little bit, and things like that, but just sequels in general is one of those ones where it's like, I know as fans of horror, we love watching some of the most iconic villains out there just continuously go, 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 go. I mean, hell, look at, the Friday the 13th series. That one has, 10 sequels, technically? I mean, if you want to count Freddy vs. Jason, it's got 10 sequels to it. But if you notice, the production quality of it, I wouldn't say the production quality of it. Let's go more into the aspect of just the quality of the movie itself. Seems to kind of dwindle, because you watch that first one and it's it's great, it's fantastic, it's scary, it's freaky, and that's what draws you in. And then you get to the second one, and the second one was like, oh wow, I can't believe they continued on with how they continued on. And then you get further and further on. I mean, and then Jason Takes Manhattan, for example. I mean, the movie literally doesn't hardly ever take in, the aspect of Manhattan. And I know that was because of production value stuff that, occurred, that they couldn't do a lot of it in Manhattan. But still at the same time, it's like you watch that one compared to going back in the day, and it's become more of a lampooning of itself in certain ways on some of these movies. I mean, Jason X is a prime example of lampooning itself, because I love that movie. I really do. I went to the movie theater to go watch that, and I was like, okay, this is either going to be a redefinition of how the Friday the 13th series is going to go, or it's just going to be stupid fun. And it ended up being just stupid fun. I know there's a lot of people out there who absolutely hated that movie. But for me, it was it was stupid fun. It was Jason just going out there and kill with the stupid script, like something you'd see out of a sci-fi movie. And when I say sci-fi, I mean sci-fi, the channel thing, not like a science fiction movie. And the same thing kind of happened when it comes down to the Nightmare on Elm Street films as well, because you watch that first one and Freddy was just so intimidating, and he was very just omnipresent in that whole entire movie, to an extent that it was scary. It was really genuinely freaky in a lot of different ways. And I know a lot of people didn't really like the sequel, because, I mean, for one, it's it wasn't, we didn't have a final girl for the sequel, technically. We had Jesse, who ended up being the final guy, which we don't actually, that's kind of one of the ones I wanted to talk about at some point too, is the whole idea of the final girl thing. But, a lot of people consider that the gay copy of, the Nightmare on Elm Street, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, it's if you take the time to watch it again, if you haven't watched that one in a long time, take the time to watch that one again. That one's actually really damn good too. It's very interesting. It just kind of expanded on how Freddy Krueger can be. And then you get to part 3, and part 3 was just utterly like that. That's one of the ones that it's the most iconic, because I think that's the one that most people associate with, because the whole Dream Warrior thing. But then you get into 4, 5, and 6, and it just kind of like quality went, just kind of just dropped. As far as how a lot of people viewed Freddy Krueger, he became a lot more quippy, and he was putting a lot more comedy elements out there. And I know that a lot of us love having those comedy elements in our scary movies. Why? Because it helps to break that tension. It really does. But at the same time, he was not as menacing, in my opinion, as he used to be. Now, Freddy Krueger, don't get me wrong, he is one of my absolute favorite horror icons out there. I mean, I've met Robert Englund, and he was a delight to sit there and chit-chat with. I mean, watching him up on a Q&A and then getting to have a small conversation with him afterwards and everything like that was absolutely fantastic. He is a sweetheart. He absolutely is. But then we get into, on those ones, we get into the last one, the New Nightmare. And that was Wes Craven taking it back and trying to make it scary again. And honestly, I think he did a really damn good job with that one, too. I don't know how many people actually really enjoyed that one compared to some of the other ones out there, but I think he really did a damn good job. But then we get into other ones that are out there like Scream and Leprechaun and... like Leprechaun. We could have a whole entire thing about Leprechaun because of just how that one went. I mean, it started out campy in the beginning, but not super campy. It had its scary moments, but the way that one went wow. Or the Child's Play ones. I mean, heck, Child's Play has become one of those ones where it's not only spawned out the sequels that it has, but it's going to end up having its own TV show out there on Sci-Fi. I mean, called Chucky. That's how they're doing the sequel for that. And there's so many different movies out there that end up having so many different sequels. And I know there's plenty of the whole just aspect of it being because, well, this thing made money, so we want to do more. And then there's a lot of those times where it's like you could actually expand on that and make it better or make it great and be able to keep up with these villains. But then there's the other times, and this is the majority of what usually happens, in my opinion, is that we end up with movies that are far from how the original was and is not as great. And like I said, it's, maybe not production value, but maybe, the scripts and things like that. Or actors getting tired of doing some of the things. Because like certain series out there, they keep the same actors going and going and going. And other ones, they change out characters. I mean, you look at Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. He's been Freddy Krueger the whole entire time. And everybody pretty much that you talk to has been like, that is Freddy Krueger. I don't care who else you put out there, it's not going to be the same. Or you take the Hellraiser ones, because that's another series where it's like the quality went, just downhill on a lot of it. And they eventually end up changing out Doug Bradley, because even Doug Bradley was like, yeah, no, fuck this. I'm not going to do this, because it's not Pinhead. It's not the Cenobites. And then I know we're supposed to be getting a remake of that. And if I remember, I can't remember if it was supposed to be a TV show or if it was supposed to be a movie, but I know it's going to be on streaming someplace where they're going to redo Hellraiser. And instead of being Doug Bradley, it's supposed to be a female lead, where I'm waiting to see how people get all ruffled and pissed off about that. But if you get into the whole actual aspect of how the Hellbound Heart stuff is, it can fit. Believe me, it can. So, if it's one of those ones that gets your panties in a twist because it's going to be a female Cenobite Pinhead, take it, and just relax. It'll be okay. I mean, hell, you go back to the very first, Hellraiser movie in general, and Pinhead didn't even have a name to begin with. Us as a community gave Pinhead his name because that's what we called him, and it just kind of stuck, and Clive Barker went with it. So, there you go on that one. Anyway, but I'm really kind of curious as far as what you guys think as far as like movie sequels out there, because I mean, again, I could go and make a list. Like I could probably make a good, whole entire 24-hour audio clipping of these are all the horror movies that have sequels and name all the sequels, because horror has the highest, I would say the highest percentage out there as far as movies that have sequels, and have continuations that go on for as long as they do. So I'm kind of curious as far as what you guys think about the whole aspect of sequels, and if there's any of those ones where it's like they absolutely did not deserve to have a sequel because it was great the way it was, or it was so bad it didn't need a sequel. Or are there ones out there where you absolutely love the sequels compared to the originals? I mean, Alien versus Aliens, it's highly contested among a lot of people as far as, which ones they actually like. Now, granted, I also sit back and, I got my own opinion on that one. Alien's more of a horror movie, where Aliens is more of an action movie to me. Action sci-fi, of course, horror sci-fi stuff. But that's my own opinion on it, and a lot of people are like, no, it still fits in the horror genre. It does and it doesn't. But that's my own opinion when it comes to that one. So let me know what you guys think as far as these sequels go. What you guys think about, some of the horror movies out there that probably actually might deserve sequels as well. And if you're listening to this on podcast, of course, as always, like I say, leave me a review if you haven't left a review yet. Share it out with people. Say, hey, come check out this guy. Let him ramble in your ear for a little while. If you're checking this out on YouTube, of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the little notification bell so you know that my videos are coming out. I post stuff over on YouTube a lot more than I put in the podcast. And leave a comment down below because I'm kind of curious as far as what you guys think. Again, I also do TikTok videos every single day, except for the weekends, because like I said, the weekends are my time. But I do want to do those every single day with a different daily horror fact, anything from the real all the way to the movies and the fantasy and stuff like that as well. But believe me, they're all facts. And if you have made it this far, thank you for listening to me continue to drone on about horror, because I could do this all day, honestly. I could really do this all day. I absolutely love the horror genre that much. Or just horror in general that much. So, thank you again. And you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next episode.